What's going on, homies? Welcome to the Correct Soccer Podcast, episode number 20. On today's episode, we're going to go over match day 20 and 21, recaps of both of those game days. We're also going to go into the Gold Cup, which is heating up now. The semifinals are set. They're ready to go. And we're going to finally cap it off with the Club World Cup. MLS, unfortunately, out of the running, but nonetheless, great tournament to continue to watch. And we'll kind of keep you guys posted on the Club World Cup, Gold Cup, and the MLS action. You're not going to want to miss it. Episode number 20. Bang, bang.
Bang, bang.
Sig,
like where did me and you again, man?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess Fern decided not to jump on this one, guys. He didn't jump on the last one, and he ain't jumping on this one. So
I'm back. You guys can't get rid of me that easily.
Back from the depths of HE of hell. He's back from the depths of hell.
I came back with the vengeance. I got all the picks right. Match day 20 and 21.
He's the biggest liar ever. Don't believe him. Don't believe a word Fern says. He's totally lying. But with that being said, if you want, we can go right into the leaderboard.
Leaderboard?
The leaderboard, ladies and gentlemen, for the amount of correct picks that we all have for the MLS regular season. Boom. There it is. Not too much. I mean, looks like you're kind of climbing the ladder a little bit here and there, Fern, but give me the breakdown, man. I want to know the breakdown. You can obviously see there first, second, third, 130 points, 125 and 113. I want to know how many we got right on match day 20 and how many we got right on match day 21.
Okay. I believe, let me see. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for you, Reyes, right?
Yeah,
and 8
Wednesday, match day 20.
Yeah, match day 20, and I have the same amount for Lopez. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for Lopez.
Ooh, okay.
And then
neck and neck right there.
I have 12 for me.
You're such a liar, dude.
What do you mean? I predicted the ties and everything. That's 4 points. No, I got 6 on Wednesday. I thought I had more, honestly, but really? I counted 6. So I guess we'll go with 6. And then surprisingly, maybe not. I think, let's see, let me double check. 3. Yep, we all got 6.
Did we really?
Yeah, we all got 6.
No way, that's crazy.
Yeah, because some of the ties kind of screwed us over, and then what was it? There was I picked in Cincinnati. You guys picked Orlando. There was some where I made dumb decisions, like picking what did I pick? New York City. I don't know. Some dumbass picked Montreal, but it seemed to work out.
Who picked Montreal? Who picked Montreal?
It was obviously the guy that tries too hard, Lopez.
Oh my god!
No, but yeah, those ties got to us. Honestly, I'm just glad that the LA Galaxy tied because I've just been picking them to win every week. Because the next person to call the LA Galaxy to win correctly gets 10 points. So
whatever, dude. This is something you totally made up.
Bro,
that is not in the.
You guys literally said it was fine in the text, and now you're switching up.
I would love to see this text.
Me too.
Yeah, match day 21 was definitely very interesting. A lot of ties, but a couple good games for sure. I'm surprised at how many we got right on Wednesday or on the match day 20. But match day 21, I mean, for all of us to get 6, I feel like that hasn't happened quite yet. So that's pretty interesting. But I think the one that surprised me the most was definitely the Vancouver game. And not because Vancouver's not a good team. We all know they're a very good team, probably the best team right now. But with how many people they have out and still beating LAFC, with LAFC basically having nobody out, like, dang, dude, that's insane, for them to win still.
I didn't get that one right. I think I switched up because I said one thing in the podcast, and then I ended up picking something different just because I wanted to. I didn't trust my gut. That's what you get, man. But here we go.
Yeah.
Real G's moving in silence like lasagna, bro.
I was going to pick Vancouver, but then I watched the podcast, and I wish I wouldn't have took your guys' advice. You guys obviously don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, clearly. We're just
podcast equipment is too cheap. Make it more expensive. These guys don't know what they're talking about.
Hey, listen, this is not a cheap get-up. I mean, maybe for some people, but hey,
they give
the whole
anybody
thing
a mic, bro.
Hey, exactly.
It's okay. We'll see you guys next week. We'll see what's going to happen.
I had to pull out a home equity loan just to get this podcast equipment.
Yeah, dude, come on. We had to spend all this money to get all these mics, all these cameras, the software.
But that's right, bro. We're gonna come at them with some.
Exactly. You muted. You just muted yourself for the last 10 seconds.
No.
2 seconds.
Yeah.
We'll get after him. That's what you said.
We'll get after him.
Nice. Well, love that. We'll keep track of the leaderboard. Yeah, we'll keep track of the leaderboard. Clearly, we're still first, second, third. Hasn't really changed, but you never know. There's still a good chunk of games left. I mean, we're coming down to the wire, but we're not too far off. So, we'll keep that, updated. We'll kind of keep posting that up. And yeah, let us know. Let us know if y'all agree with some of our picks, and or if you don't, let us know too. Let us know in the comments, like you guys have been doing.
Who would have freaking picked Toronto, bro? I don't know. Would any of you out there, knowing what we know now, obviously we would have.
I mean, I picked them from the beginning of the season. I knew they were going to be good since the start. So
run it back. You got to go.
They're like
third
to last, fourth to last in that conference. Come on, dude.
It's a comeback, bro.
You never know. But yeah, that is the leaderboard. We'll kind of go right into the next segment here. We'll go right into the correct performances of the week. It's going to be fun because we do have match day 20, match day 21, so plenty to choose from. But why don't you kick us off, Fern, for your correct performances and your pour one out?
I don't really feel like it. Just kidding. Here, let me pop up my crack player real quick. I got these graphics that takes me 4 days to get ready for you guys, so I hope you guys are appreciating it. There's a lot of work that gets put into this. It's not a cheap production. But my cracked player is Sam Surridge, who has been on fire. I don't know what this guy has been drinking or what kind of water they have in Nashville. It might be the same stuff that they have out in Flint, Michigan, but it's definitely popping off because this guy scored a hat trick to give Nashville the dub over New England, the New England Revolution, in a great 3-2 match in on Wednesday, and he ended up scoring a penalty on Saturday against the DC United, which I'm surprised it only ended 1-0 with how bad DC United has been up until now. But with those 4 goals, he actually shot up to the MLS top scorer. So he is currently leading the MLS in goals with 16 goals. And then another crazy stat that I had for him was in his last 6 games. Do you guys know how many goals he scored? Have you guys seen the
last 6?
The doc?
I think there was one where he had 4 goals as well, right? So
the most goals he scored in the last 6 games has been the hat trick. But in his last 6 games, it's been 2 goals, 1 goal, 2 goals, 1 goal, 3 goals, 1 goal. So he scored 10 goals in his last 6 games. So he's been popping off. And he's been, I mean, I can't say the reason they've been winning, but haven't lost, because they tied 2-1. So he won them the game there. 2-2, tied them the game. 2-2, tied them the game. 2-0, they won. 3-2, won them the game. 1-0, won them the game. So Nashville should be happy that he is not on international duty right now, because that's the only reason they seem to be popping off right now. But yeah, shout out to my cracked player of the week with Sam Surridge. And that's him. I don't know what you guys think about my pick.
Yeah,
did I mess up or what?
No.
But
he's been on fire, dude. I like the pick for sure. Very cool that he's obviously being on the top of the leaderboard now in terms of goals. And he keeps the Nashville competitive, man. I mean, I believe they're in 3rd place now in the Eastern Conference, so they're right up there, right? They're right behind the 2 top dogs up there in the East with Cincy and Philly. But also something to point out there, can he keep that thing rolling when they go and play Philadelphia on Saturday? So they're playing the first place team. What a good time to kind of see if he can kind of keep that momentum going, So love the pick, man. Yeah. Awesome.
We'll see. Nashville hasn't been the best, but he's definitely been keeping them in the running. So,
they're still looking kind of nice, though, man. That's what I was gonna say. Surge is looking nice, but then He's also making Nashville look nice overall. And all jokes aside, shouts out to the people of Flint, Michigan, because I don't think a lot of people have clean water out there. So hope you got that.
Yeah, it's like bad joke, bro.
No. All love. We jokes around, but in all seriousness, like all love to the people of Flint, Michigan, and hope you guys can seriously all get clean water because it's been ridiculously long if you guys look into it. But back to el football.
But yeah, so my cracked game of the week was actually a Wednesday game. And I think it was the highest scoring game of the entire week, Wednesday and Thursday, or Wednesday and Saturday. Let me just double check, but I'm like 100% sure. And that goes to the San Diego versus the Vancouver Whitecaps. It was a 5-3 game, which honestly, anytime as a neutral, somebody that just likes to watch soccer, somebody that doesn't like to watch soccer, you just want to see the goals, this is a perfect game for you to have watched, because a certain guy popped off, a certain ex-RSL player, if you guys didn't know, popped off.
Yep.
So it was 2-0 going into the 35th and 37th minute. My guy Milan scored 2 goals, and then Ocampo for the Whitecaps came in and scored in the 43rd minute. And it seemed like Milan didn't like the fact that they were only up by 1 goal, so the 44th and 47th minute, he scored 2 more goals. I don't know. No more water jokes, but I don't know what this guy has been drinking. But yeah, it was a crazy game. So yeah, shout out to San Diego and the Whitecaps for giving us such a great game in the middle of the week, when none of these other MLS teams in the Club World Cup could.
There's a shot right there. First time I've ever seen one.
But yeah, I just wanted my last thing was pouring one out for New York City FC for giving Montreal their 3rd win of the season. I mean, all 3 of us. No, dang it. 2 of us had New York City FC winning, and 1 guy had Montreal winning. I honestly, when I saw he had picked Montreal to win, I was pissed. And then we were all hanging out together on Saturday, and we saw Montreal score first, and me and Reyes were just like, I swear if it just ends 1-0 now, we're going to be pissed. And that's exactly what happened. So shout out to Montreal, I guess, but pouring one out for our friends out in the baseball stadium. Maybe if you had a soccer stadium, you'd be able to score some goals.
Hey, also speaking of that, every single thing that I see on the MLS in terms of ranking MLS stadiums, that is the 30th ranked stadium out of every list I've ever seen on Instagram, TikTok, whatever. Everybody votes that one is the worst.
You know what?
Which is kind of crazy because I feel like, okay, the Yankees play in Yankee Stadium. It's got to be an iconic stadium. I've never been there. So it's probably pretty cool, but it's not meant to be played.
The thing is, like a football stadium, it kind of makes more sense because it's still circular, you know? But obviously a baseball stadium has that weird open area and it's like weirdly shaped. So anytime I watch them like play, it just throws me off. I'm like, where are they playing? Like, what is this? So
yeah,
maybe they should just go play at the Giants Stadium or something. Maybe.
Yeah, it would be better for sure.
MetLife.
Yep. Nice. Good stuff, man. Love those performances and the pour one out. Keep us rolling, Lopez. Where we at, dude? Let us know.
All right. Welcoming my cracked player of the week. If you guys know him, you know him. El Chucky Lozano. Stadiums be bumping with El Chucky Lozano. El Chucky Lozano. But do you guys know how he got his nickname, Chucky? Have you ever heard this story or heard this myth?
No, Chucky.
I don't think so, but I'm assuming it has something to do with the movie / doll.
Yeah,
enlighten me, please.
You are correct. He earned his nickname at Pachuca Academy, hiding underneath his teammates' beds, waiting to scare them. And so they gave him the nickname Chucky, as in Chucky the doll, the possessed doll. So, but
that's kind of weird, bro.
Yeah, you never know, bro. They gave him that nickname, bro. You got to earn it somehow, I guess.
Yeah.
But Chucky Lozano had been struggling with some hamstring injuries. He was left out of the Gold Cup because he was struggling with those injuries, but made his return to San Diego FC on Saturday. And my homie took no time in making an impact. He hit a goal, I think, in the 77th minute to tie the game, which helped spark, I think that was 3-2 comeback there over FC Dallas. So big moment for my homie out in Mexico. The Mexican national team also showing out. Shouts out to them. But moving on right into my cracked game of the week. This is a little bit of a cheat here because if you watch the game, you know how incredible it was. The U.S. men's national team. We are an MLS podcast, yes, but there are players from the MLS that were showing out there. If you haven't seen this game, go watch the highlights 100%. We could spend a hot minute talking about it, but I was live texting with the boys. What'd you guys think?
Dude, what a freaking game, man. I loved watching the game for sure. I knew too. I think we talked about this on the last episode, Lopez. You weren't here, Fern, but we talked about this one being likely like the toughest quarterfinal game of that entire, slate. So I was like anticipating a hot game. It was an intensely hot game, and I was all for it, dude. I mean, 4 goals and then going to PKs, dude. What a monster of a game!
I fell asleep, bro. I'm not gonna lie. That was the most boring game I've watched in my life. Just kidding. No, bro. That
Miami game, bro. That's what he was watching.
That was
that one stings. He's some aloe vera.
I'm a PSG fan. I'm a PSG fan. Look at my jersey. No, I'm just kidding, guys. No, that honestly, I didn't tune in. I didn't watch the full 90. I was on my way back home from family stuff, but I was able to catch the penalty shootout, and that was the entire game must have just been insane, from the first minute to the 90th minute, just getting into penalties, and then what's his name, Reyes? Freese. He blocked the second pen, right? And then Berhalter decided he didn't like the fact that they were winning and he wanted to get it more intense, so he missed it on purpose. I think he wanted to say that his dad was a better coach than Pochettino, so he missed it so the US would lose. But he got lucky that his team pulled him out of that one. But no, Freese. Matt Freese, New York City FC. So yeah, so he blocks another one, and you think it's over. They're down to the last penalty. Keylor Navas has to come in and save this. And honestly, I was surprised that the Costa Rica, they kept talking about how their players were like 19, 18 years old. I'm like, bro, you guys are putting them in such a crazy position, but I mean that's kind of what happens when you have a young team, I guess. But yeah, Keylor Navas, with that experience of playing for Real Madrid and being in these big moments, you could tell he was not scared, and just saved that penalty. He was fighting to keep his team in the game, but unfortunately, penalty shootouts just kind of sometimes doesn't go your way. And Matt. For the I'm sorry, Matt. Well, because I wanted to say his first name, but I couldn't remember it was Matt. I knew it was Freeze. For New York City FC, definitely saved the U.S. men's national team with those 3 penalty saves. And honestly, I think that just should show the U.S. that Matt Turner should not be in goal.
Ooh, that's a bold statement. I mean, Turner is pretty good, but Freese is a baller when it comes to penalties. Like, baller.
I think he earns at least a look, at least a look after that performance because, 100%. What a hell of a game.
Yeah. And we can get into it more when we go into the Gold Cup, but
absolutely.
I mean, what a game to kind of look at and watch for sure.
Absolutely. I know Capi's going to be doing a little bit of a different thing here for our pour one outs as we're moving forward, but if you didn't also see pouring one out for Canada, but shouts outs to Guatemala, bro. Let's go. Like sad for Canada, but also celebratory there. But again, we'll talk about more about that here in a little bit. And then also, we've already talked about it a little bit. Portland, rip. Like, what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? But
even
taking that L
RSL didn't lose that bad.
Yeah, man. So it's taking that L to freaking Toronto, man. So
yeah, that was pretty big beatdown for sure. So yeah, they definitely fell asleep. I don't know what the hell was going on for that game for sure. But nonetheless, love those picks. Love the pour one outs. Very good choices. We'll definitely get into those here when we start talking about the Gold Cup. But again, thank you, PZ, for those performances. I will round us out. I will kick it off really quickly for my correct players of the week. I'm going to have two because there were two match days. So match day 20 as well as match day 21. So for my first correct player, I'm going to have to give it to Milan Ilovsky. We kind of already alluded to it a little bit here, but the man had plenty of goals on Wednesday with a 9.9 rating, right? He had 4 goals. I think you mentioned this too, Fern. It was in the 35th, 37th, 44th, and 47th minute, which is absolutely nuts. He basically had a hat trick in 9 minutes in the first half, and then as soon as the second half started, 2 minutes into it, the guy scores his 4th. So what a way to kind of go out on that game. Not only to have so many of those goals, but this was also his first start of the season. So what a way to kind of, say, hey, look, I'm having this opportunity to start for San Diego FC. Might as well try to go all out. Boom, bang, bop, 4 goals. So hats off to him, man.
He also had an assist on their game they played on Saturday, I think.
Saturday.
Yeah.
So yeah, he had a ton of work. He did a ton of work throughout that game. So hats off to him. And also with the win on Wednesday, it does send San Diego FC into first place of the Western Conference. So hats off to them. They're still there too because they won on Saturday. But yeah, what a performance to score 4 goals in one game, man. Like, got to be no better feeling. You know what I mean? So hats off to him. Keeping it rolling, match day 21. So my second correct player is going to have to be Evander Ferreira. Boom. The guy had a great game on Saturday. He had 2 goals, a 9.1 rating, 83% passer rating, keeping Cincinnati in the race for the Eastern Conference, keeping them in second place right behind Philadelphia. So awesome to watch that. Awesome to kind of see that he had plenty of goals, plenty of assists throughout the entire week. But on Saturday, he had those 2 goals. And I don't know if you guys saw these, but the one free kick that he had, it was absolutely nuts just because it was so far away. So if you're kind of like thinking about it, he had to have been maybe 35, almost about 35, 40 something yards away from the goal. This is pretty far. And the way that he hits it is like not like you would expect him to kind of just give a service into like his team to give a header. But instead he kind of hits this thing wide and kind of curves it in, and boom, he just scores it. It's almost like one of those like, dude, there's no way this is going in. And the goalie's like, oh crap, it really is. And then he like actually kind of catches it and he kind of falls into the goal with the ball. So he kind of scores. So hell of a goal right there. So, both of those goals, super great. That first one and then the second one just kind of like, kind of taking the ball off to the left-hand side, kicking it in the right side. So it's kind of like those ones that look really nice that Cristiano Ronaldo usually does, right? So he kind of, had 2 very good looking goals on Saturday. So Evander, one of the guys that I think will sneakily come up in terms of the MVP throughout the season. He's very quiet, I feel. Not a lot of people talk about him, at least not from what I've been seeing, but he's a hell of a player. So, keep your eyes on Evander. I think he's got a lot more in him. And Cincinnati, man, they're staying competitive. So good for him.
He also looks happy to be your correct player of the week. Definitely pointing at it.
Exactly. Yeah, he loves that attention, man. Gotta love that. So that is for my correct players. Going right into my correct. Sorry, what?
I just said solid.
Oh, thank you. Next up for my correct game of the week. Probably going to be, one of those ones where you guys are like, what? Why would you pick this one? And in a way, yes, sure, say what you want about this game. But Montreal versus New York City FC on Saturday, I believe it was. It was only a 1-0 game. Okay. Nothing insane. It wasn't 7 goals in this game. It wasn't like a 3-0 killing. None of that. I get it. But Montreal did end up beating New York City FC 1-0. Okay. And I know Montreal, they are last place in the Eastern Conference. They're second to last in the Supporter Shield. I get it. Not a crazy team to kind of be looking at. But this does give Montreal their very first win of the season. Home win of the season. Boom. Hats off to you guys. Giving the crowd what they need to see, right?
Who would have thought, man? Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Their third win of the season and their first home win of the season, which is actually kind of funny too, because they did beat New York City FC 1-0, and then their very first win of the season back in, I want to say like March or something, or maybe it was a little bit after that, like in May. Their first win of the season was against New York City FC, and guess how much they beat them by?
25-0.
1-0. So kind of crazy. New York City FC, Montreal is your kryptonite at this point. So kind of crazy to think about. But yes, my crack game of the week, Montreal versus New York City FC. Montreal, thank you for winning at home. Thank you for giving the fans what they need to see.
So do they only play like usual, right? One home game, one away game against the same team. So unless they make it to like the playoffs together, right?
Probably. I would assume so.
Okay.
So yeah, that's their second time playing them, and I don't think they'll play them again. Just kind of given the standings and everything. But yeah, I think typically it's, 2 games with 1 in each home for sure. So yeah, that is my correct game of the week. And then yes, for my pour one out, I got a couple of them. I'm going to try to do something a little bit different here next time. But gonna pour one out, two of them today. Okay. Pouring one out for De La Torre and Arvston. Arvston, I believe that's how you say his last name. Arvston. I'm going to share this clip really quickly because it's hilarious and I think it's funny. But let me go ahead and pause this and show it to you guys. Let me show you this to you guys really quick. You're going to have to pour one out for these guys because you got to do much better than this. This was the game with U.S. men's national team against Costa Rica. And I believe right here is where the U.S. is beating Costa Rica 2-1. And then this happens. What are you doing? So first, what is that? Exactly. So first and foremost, here's the situation. Everybody's lined up pretty good, right? Everybody's keeping them nobody's off sides here. Like they're making sure everybody's kind of staying back at the very top of the box, giving the goalie what they need to do. But right here, right? So this is De La Torre. This is, I believe, Arvston. It's kind of hard to tell from up here, but you kind of keep playing this, and you're thinking, okay, boom, 2-1, easy. Y'all should be able to get this, no problem. Or at the very least, push him to the corner because at this point, he can't do much over here. So push him this way. Or if you really wanted to, push him back this way, but you're giving him an option to play the ball back and switch it around, right? But push him this way, okay? So Lopez lessons. Lopez, when you're playing defense, push him where he has no more options. Push him this way. You hear what I'm saying? Where's he going? Where do we need to make him go?
Towards the goal.
Yeah, bro. Open the gap further. Let him right through. It's getting open this way, bro. He opening this way. We're going where he has less options, bro. Back to the flag. Corner, to the flag.
But he did exactly what you just said, though.
Part the Red Sea, bro.
Oh my goodness, he just parted the sea.
Looking like
Jeez
Moses.
Louise. And then from there, obviously, he's got a couple options because these guys are, not sticking to their man. This is, I believe, Tillman kind of leaving both of these guys. He's got, double coverage. So it's like, what are you going to do? These guys are floating. So this guy easily could have passed it here now. He could have had a shot. He could have had a long ball. He could have let it go. He could have had a shot. Like so many options because they let this happen. So that's what happens.
Bro, the ball is who's 13? Is that Reem? This guy right there, right next to the top of the right of the box. That guy, yeah. Go back and look at what he's doing after the shot.
He's just standing there, isn't he?
Right there.
He just stood there. He totally just stood there. What are you doing?
Literally just ball watching.
Oh, man. Anyways, got to pour one out for that.
He plays just like me.
Exactly, man. Pour one out for De La Torre and Arvston for not playing very good defense and obviously partying like the Red Sea and just kind of letting them get that second goal in that very exciting, right? You're correct game, Lopez. USA versus Costa Rica, 2-2, making it 2-2. At the end of the day, they made it go to penalties. So, pouring one out for that one.
En un country. All right.
Exactly. Viven en un country. Come on, man. For my last one here, I'll do this one very quick. My last one goes out to my pour one out goes out. My last pour one out goes out to this camera. Let's go ahead and do this really quick. Share, faster. Come on. Right here. Please direct your attention to this area right here where my mouse is at.
Oh!
And there goes that. Probably, I'm actually kind of curious. While I'm talking, one of you guys Google how much one of those cameras costs that they use to film the soccer games behind the goal. I'm very curious. But pouring one out for that camera because obviously you want to get the best angles that you possibly can. You're going to put it right behind the goal where he's likely going to shoot it. And this guy drills it into this camera. I saw the lens come off. I saw this thing break at the very end of this. That whole entire shootout, because I believe he shot first. This camera's not being in use whatsoever because they had to pull it off to the side. People were on their phones like, yo, I just broke this couple $1,000 camera. What are we going to do? And it was gone for the rest of the game. So pouring out for that camera. Sorry. You guys got hit hella on that one.
It's at least $5, bro. That's all I got to say.
At least.
I know, because there's so many different cameras, but I wouldn't, with the type of quality that they're filming in and whatnot, at least $2, like Lopez said, $5. No, like 2,000, something like that. I would guess
it's at least like $5,000.
Probably, yeah.
Because,
I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's $5,000 plus that arm that like they move to get that angle and move it a little bit. The whole get up is probably like $10K.
Any cameramen on TikTok or Instagram Reels, if you're watching this, what kind of cameras are they using? Yeah, how much is it?
Yeah, how much did the camera cost? Who knows? Let us know in the comments. Sick. All right, dope. So love that, fellas. Love the crack performances. We're going to go right into the major headlines. We're going to kick it off in the MLS first. Very quick one to kind of go over with all of you really quick. Not sure if a lot of you found this or saw this, figured this out. But if you are familiar with a player named Olivier Giroud, he has played his last game in the MLS this last Sunday, I believe it was. He is now being moved over to, was it LOSC or was it Lille?
Auckland.
Honestly, I didn't even know that Olivier Giroud played in freaking the MLS.
That's harsh, bro. That's really harsh, bro. Come on. But yeah, kind of going back on that one, obviously Olivier Giroud was kind of like a forward for the LAFC. I don't think he's had as good of a time there as he probably would have expected. Clearly, you have Dennis Bawanga, fighting for a lot of those balls and kind of getting a lot of those goals, anyways. And that team is pretty stacked. You got Nathan Ordaz as well, kind of up top. That's been playing super well. So, not the showing that he's kind of been wanting. But for a 38-year-old, sounds like he's going back to the hometown, back to Europe, back to France. Curious, man. I mean, is this something we're going to slowly start to see when some of these, retirement league players kind of come over here trying to get something going and then, nothing happens and they go back to, their boyhood club, their home country, whatever it is. How do you guys feel about this? Did you guys see it coming? Do you guys like it? Do you not? Curious.
I mean, I'm not surprised. Like I said, obviously I was joking. I knew he played in the MLS, but he hasn't had the best years in the MLS. He came 2014, played 37 games and scored 5 times. I don't know if this year tells me exactly how many of those games he started. I'm gonna see if I can get that, but he hasn't played very well. Hopefully, is Lille, are they in the first division or are they on the second division of
I think they
French
are.
football right now? Because I'll be honest with you, I don't think many people keep up. They're in Ligue 1, so yeah, it's League 1, but not a lot of people keep up with the French league.
Unless you're PSG, you're pretty much winning it for how many years in a row now? 11 years. So
they did win it for 10 years in a row, I believe, and then Monaco or Leon came in and took it from them. But back to the topic at hand, is he hasn't played very well. It kind of sucks to see a player of his caliber leave. I don't want to say what I'm about to say because he is a big player. He is a very popular player. He's won a lot of things. He's won the World Cup with France. He's very successful in his career. But this is a retirement league, you know? Mm-hmm. But a lot of the people that make it seem like that are those special players that can do something on their own. And unfortunately, I feel like Giroud is not one of those players. I feel like he is a good player in a good system, a good team like France, where you can get players that come in and get you like the balls, and like if you get him the ball in a spot where he needs to be deadly, he's gonna be deadly. Yeah. But unfortunately, the way the MLS goes, you kind of need to do stuff on your own sometimes. You know, like look at Zlatan, look at Messi, look at Beckham. Like these are very like hot, like top players. There's been a lot of players that come from Europe that have been like amazing out there, come here and they can't do it all. And that's kind of the issue, is because these teams you go to, they kind of expect you to do it all, unfortunately, you know? So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, it is unfortunate to kind of see somebody like him go, but you know, like we've been mentioning, like it wasn't kind of showing the kind of player that he normally can be, but he does seem just like one of those number nines, like you know, if I can compare him to somebody, it would be Suarez. Because Suarez is also one of those where like he's a great player in his own respect, right? But you can kind of see that the whole age thing, the whole, you know, this is a younger league, younger guys, faster guys, like it's harder for them to kind of keep up, right? So
he does have 34 goals in 62 matches though, so
that's pretty good.
It just makes me want to like see younger generations start to step up, you know, within the MLS, like people grown in the US, like who have that pride within their like own clubs and want to make something of them, right? Because like not everybody's going to be a Messi who like comes up the ranks, but like dang it, man, we got to find some ways to find some more of that talent that is out there. Because if you look like at the NFL and the NBA, the caliber of talent and how it has just climbed over the generations, like it feels like the MLS, we're just like not producing. I don't know. I'd love to see like a Maradona from the US. I'd love to see a Messi from the US, right? But like, and I know, and then there definitely are superstars out there like that. But I'm just talking to like the legendary status that is these footballers.
And
anyway.
There's definitely a lot of North American players, whether that's Mexico, US, or Canada, out in Europe that are lighting up things, you know, like Alphonso Davies. He's been a staple at Bayern for a few years now. His teammate, I can't think of his name right now, but he also played for Lille and he's leaving now. So like Pulisic, Robinson, the left back, there's a lot of these players that are out here like starting for their teams, and not just starting, but being like important players to these teams where they're all young. And yes, unfortunately, the MLS is new. Some people see it as not as good, but if the MLS can kind of retain those type of players and keep them playing here, maybe not forever, because at the end of the day, a lot of these teams out in Europe have a lot of history, and you know, a lot of these tournaments out there have been going on for such a long time, and money. Sure. But try and keep them for as long as possible, because like Alphonso Davies left before he even became, I would say, like a superstar, you know, like and I guess it's easy for me to say, but if like Lopez just said, money, like a team comes in and be like, hey, we're going to give you $50 million for this player, it's really hard to say no. So I guess we just got to figure out a way to keep some of those up and coming talents in the US.
Money talks. You're right, and thanks for educating me. Because you're right. There are some great players, but like, how can we keep the pride? Like, how can we keep people here? But again, money talks. Sorry, Reyes, what were you saying?
No, and I was just gonna say like that's a big point, and I know we've talked about it a couple times here and there on the podcast, but I definitely want to get into that too when we go over a little bit more on the Gold Cup, because when you kind of look at that situation, like yes, we already have so many players that are abroad playing in these different leagues, and they're not really going to be staying in the MLS. But then you start seeing players here, you're kind of starting to see some of them sprout, right, and kind of like become good players, like a Luna, like a Gozo, like a Berhalter, like a White. Like these guys are playing very well. Will they stay here? It's hard to say, especially with the cap, right, with the salary cap. So hard to see them kind of stay, but nonetheless, we wish Olivier Giroud the best over there at Lille. He's going back to France with some croissants. So good for him. And maybe next time, next time we'll get an even better French player to come and play. We'll see.
Griezmann.
Oh, maybe. You never know. I think
he does like the Lakers. I know he likes the Lakers.
He's very active with kind of doing collaborations with basketball and NFL guys, huh? I believe. But yeah, you never know. We'll kind of keep track of that too. The next transfer window, I believe, is in a month. It starts in July, I believe.
Should be.
So you never know what could happen, but I don't know if we'll be able to pull one of those, bigger players again. We'll see. There's been a couple sales here and there, but hard to be able to tell if
July 24th to August 21st.
Okay, cool. So end of next month. Dick, and then the next one, I did want to go over this a little bit with you guys. We didn't really get a chance to talk about this all together. So really quickly, I wanted to go over the MLS All-Star Roster. We did talk about this a little bit, before it came out. But now it has been finalized, and there's obviously a lot of players on here that, you say, oh, of course they're on there for sure. But just kind of going through really quickly, forwards, I think the biggest one that stands out here, and the one that we've clearly been, discussing time in and time out, Lionel Messi clearly being on the roster. He was voted in. You can see right there.
He got in?
Yes, surprisingly, right? But it was one of those things where we talked about, right? We were saying, hey, look, if you're the MLS, if you are trying to make this something that people want to go to, spend time at, and want to watch, you have to have Messi a part of this team, right? So clearly having a lot of good players there too. You got Chucky, you got White, you got Dreyer, Bawanga, Augimeng, like a lot of studs on there for the forwards. So very much looking forward to that. Midfielders, you got Evander, Luna, which is awesome. He was also voted in. For the defenders, you got Jordi Alba, another Inter Miami player. Freeman, who's been lighting up over there for Orlando. Blackman as well, been playing very well for Vancouver. And then the goalkeepers, you do have St. Clair with Minnesota, Stuver for Austin, and then I forget how to say his name. Yohei Takakoa for Vancouver. He's also been playing very well. So super cool to see this roster. I'm kind of curious if anybody stands out to you guys, or if anybody that you're like, wow, I can't believe this guy didn't get in. Is there anybody like that from this that you guys are kind of like thinking about?
Honestly, I was surprised to see Jordi Alba get in.
Same.
I feel like last year he was very good. This year he hasn't been as good as he was last year. So when I saw him in the squad, I was surprised. I mean, I guess that's what happens sometimes when you get votes in, and I guess I shouldn't be surprised because I did vote like 200 times all the Inter Miami players in. So, but yeah, no, that not anybody specifically that I'm surprised didn't get in, but surprised how he got in. Obviously he got voted in, but yeah, I mean, I guess that's good, but yeah, I mean, all these people are very good. I'm very happy to see Diego Luna in there. I think this is his second year in a row getting in.
Yeah, I think so.
So hopefully it'll be nice to see him play with Messi, see how that goes. I know he's talked a few times about how big of a Messi fan he is. So it'll probably be nice to be on the same pitch as him and be his teammate and not be playing against them, which I don't think he's ever played against them or with them, right?
I don't think so. Yeah, I think it'll be the first for sure. So I'm sure the two of them will have some words and, some discussions here and there. So that'll be cool to see for sure. Hype for Diego Luna, man. I did want to point out this one. I believe I saw something online. I believe this is the very first year that not a single LA Galaxy player is on the MLS All-Star roster. I believe that's true. Which is a little crazy because, I mean, clearly they haven't not been having a very good season. But you could argue, Gabriel Peck has been playing pretty decently. Maybe not as good as the rest of these, obviously, but Gabriel Peck has been playing all right. Royce has been playing all right. But those two, I'm surprised maybe they didn't even get any votes. Not sure, but yeah, first time I didn't see them, and then also not a single player from what the number one offense in the MLS is right now, right? So nobody from the San Jose Earthquakes. So you don't have Chicho in there, Espinoza, like none of them are in there either. So kind of crazy to see that, for my opinion.
Do you see any like losing teams players on here? Because I think so. Feel like Royce definitely could have got in. Obviously he's got 5 goals and 4 assists to the season, so not the best season ever, but he's definitely been consistent once he's been healthy. Yeah. But obviously being out and missing so many games is not very good for your chances to get in. But yeah, that's. I mean, is anybody surprised?
No. I mean, these guys have all been playing super well, right? I mean, obviously Diego Luna's been playing amazing. Real Salt Lake hasn't been, in terms of the team, hasn't been, super great. I would argue Charlotte FC, they've also been kind of wishy-washy here. Chicago has been kind of coming up, right? They've been doing a little bit better, but still, sometimes good, sometimes not. But yeah, obviously there's a lot of these teams are just the top teams, right?
They should. Miami should trade for Diego Luna.
That would be interesting, honestly. Not a bad idea. But I don't think he would leave RSL for like another MLS team, to be honest.
I think he's going to go to Atlanta.
Clip it. You think so?
He'll go to Atlanta.
You mean the second worst team in the Eastern Conference?
Hey, they're gonna pay money for him to revitalize the team, bro. It's not a bad team. It's a bad season. All right.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, a bit of an interesting lineup, to be honest. I think it's a pretty good lineup. I think all these players are very good. But there's a couple that maybe could have made it, didn't make it. What I thought was a little bit interesting too, because I thought for some reason, and maybe I was just naive in this thought, but I thought everybody had to be voted in. I did see on there like commissioner's pick, coach's selection. That. I'm curious how that works because I don't know how that works, right? Like if somebody doesn't vote any of these, some of these players in, like if nobody, let's just say, right, I don't think this would ever happen, but like let's just say nobody voted for Messi to get in, like would it be one of those things where the commissioner just says, oh well, let's put Messi in there? Or like a coach is to say, hey, let's put Messi in there, or like some other top dog, right? I'm curious.
I think money talks, man. Yeah. I think I don't know.
It just surprised. I just didn't. Like I said, I thought it was maybe I'm naive, but like I thought it was just a vote.
I got you. So it says the MLS Star Game Roster Selection. The MLS All-Star Roster is determined through a combination of methods, including voting, obviously, fans, media vote for some of the players. And then the MLS All-Star head coach selects a number of players, often from the host club. So I don't know. You don't have that thing pulled up anymore, but so the person that's coaching the All-Star team gets to pick some of the players, and then the commissioner makes a certain number of selections to complete the roster. For example, the 2025 MLS All-Star Game roster commissioner Don Garber selected 2 players, but on how many did the commish pick here? There's one, two. Looks like just 2, yeah. And he picked Oyang and Lozano. Isn't that sorry?
I didn't see what happened.
But talking about like Lozano though, lost my train of thought. But he's also been injured for a good couple games, and he's still got commish picked. So that's interesting too. I wonder, so what the commissioner just whatever lo que se le dé la gana. Or
maybe. I mean, he has been decent. You know, it's
He's
just
been
like you
playing
said,
very well,
the injuries have slowed him down. So maybe once the commissioner was like, he deserves to be in because he's one of the big names.
So here's a little side thought, because I did see this. I saw somebody post about this. I don't have like anything to show of this and like to do all that, but like I found out something that's a little bit interesting. This is why I'm bringing it up, because it has something to do with Chucky Lozano and him being like technically like Mexican and like a Mexican national league player. I saw somewhere where there is like a marketing group for the MLS or like US soccer, right? And they technically own the rights for like all the marketing, the soccer marketing here in the States for the MLS, as well as for the Mexican national team. So they own like the marketing here in the States, right? And so that's why you see a lot of like games like in the Mexican National League, like they play in LA and Chicago, Texas, like they play a lot of those games here, and they played a lot of those games here. And from my understanding, the MLS owns that marketing group. So if you think about the MLS and like them owning that marketing group and kind of owning all of that, marketing for not just the teams, but also the Mexican national team, and for the commish to basically handpick the top Mexican national player in the MLS right now to go to the MLS Cup, or the MLS All-Star game, that's probably why.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but I mean, that probably has something to do with it. But at least we can say it's not like he didn't rob somebody's spot per se. At least that makes it a little bit better. Yeah. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. There's a lot of politics that go on in U.S. soccer.
Exactly. So. Yeah, I mean, in general, like, it's pretty nuts. Like, there's a lot of stuff that kind of goes down. So, but yeah, I saw that night, and you said Chucky Lozano, so I'm like, dude, I have to mention this. But anyways, yeah, very interesting. Going to be an interesting All-Star game. We'll kind of see what happens right with them in the Liga MX. I believe that game will happen on the 22nd. I forget what day it was. It's in the end-ish of July, right? Or June. Shit, dude. I forgot. I just had it up here.
Obviously not June, bro. We're already at the end of June. Oh, you're talking about the 23rd. 23rd of July.
I'm like trying to like scramble. There's so much.
Well, he said July or June. I was like, well, yeah. we're at the end of June, so
July 23rd. July 23rd is when that will go down. So we'll have to, keep an eye on it and see how it goes. Sick. Okay, we'll go into the next kind of topics here. Really quickly, we'll go into the CONCACAF Gold Cup, which we've already discussed a little bit here and there, but clearly those quarterfinal games were definitely kind of the ones that, really stood out. A couple of them stood out to me specifically, but let me go ahead and share this. So as you guys can see, this last weekend, we were surprised. At least I was surprised with a lot of these games. So I think we pointed out right already, USA versus Costa Rica. What a game, right? 2-2 at the very end of the day. Penalties 4-3. So I believe there was 1, 2, 3, 4. There was like 4 blocked penalties in this game because yes, the US did tie it 2-2 with Costa Rica. But if you watch the game, I think in the 10th or so ish minute, the U.S. also had a penalty kick, like just a regular time penalty kick, and they missed it. They missed that penalty. So there was a lot of penalties in this game, a lot of blocked penalties. Which
there was 5 blocked penalties.
Dang.
Yeah,
nice. Yeah, 5 blocked penalties in this game. But again, hell of a game. We mentioned this too a little bit, Lopez, on the previous episode. But you see, 2 goals from the U.S., 1 from Luna, and then 1 from, I believe it was Arfson that scored in this game. I believe now there's way more people that have scored for the U.S. in this tournament than like any other team, I would assume, because there's so many people on the score sheet for the U.S. right now in this cup, in this competition, which is cool to see.
So sorry, I was gonna just say that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different goal scorers in the team right now from this Gold Cup, or 7 in total. Yeah. Max Arfson has scored 1. Mm-hmm. Haji Wright has scored 1. Diego Luna has scored 1. Chris Richards 1. Brendan Aronson has scored 1. Patrick Aguimain has scored 2. Sorry, bro. I swear I'm not doing it on purpose. And obviously Malik Tillman has scored 3.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Again, like I said, Lopez. We talked about this. What a way for the U.S. to show up, right? Like, yes, we don't have that one guy. We don't have the main headliners in the U.S., but everybody's contributing to this team, and it's a lot of fun to watch.
There is no I in team, baby.
Exactly. Exactly, which is super cool. So, hats off to the U.S. going to the semifinals.
There's also no me in team.
Okay.
Can I was just gonna say that it's kind of. I mean, I don't know whether it's like a good thing or a bad thing. I think it's a good thing to see that 3 out of your 4 quarterfinal games kind of went to penalties, just because it kind of shows it's a bit evenly matched, and like obviously maybe they went to penalties just because it's just 90 minutes, so you're more likely to go to penalties that way. But it also just shows that at least some of these teams aren't like the CONCACAF is getting better, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. A lot of these teams aren't just getting demolished unless you're El Salvador. But then, you're doing pretty good. I mean, I guess Mexico did win 2-0, but
yeah, I mean, we kind of expected that one.
Yeah,
when we looked at these quarterfinals, we looked at Mexico and we said, hey, you know what? This is probably that one game that we're, they're going to win this, right? Saudi Arabia is the invited guest to this Gold Cup. So, obviously Mexico beating Saudi Arabia, hats off to them. We expected that. But these other two right here on the left-hand side, Panama versus Honduras and then Canada versus Guatemala. Dude, I don't think anybody would have guessed Honduras to beat Panama and then Guatemala to beat Canada. Like, what the heck happened? And I'm actually going to pull up.
Bro, Canada didn't have their full team, bro. What do you expect?
Oh, yeah. So speaking of that was a little bit funny and interesting to see, right? So do you want to say what you're referring to there, Fern?
You got it. I believe in you.
So the reason Fern has mentioned that was because the Canadian coach, before this season started, he kind of threw a little bit of shade to the U.S. men's national team. Oh, sorry, tournament. Before this tournament started, the Canadian national team coach threw a little bit of shade to the U.S. men's national team, basically saying, hey, look, none of our guys called us up and said, hey, it's been a long season. I don't think I'm going to go to the Gold Cup. I'm a little tired. I don't want to go. He said that. He said that none of them called him and asked and basically said that to him. So you would assume full strength Canadian team, right? As soon as they lose this game to Guatemala, the guy has the audacity to say, well, you know what? The reason we lost is because half of our team is gone. It's like, bro, what did you just say before this season, before this tournament started, dude? Would make up your mind here? Did you have your team at full strength or not? So,
I mean, you could technically say he didn't have this team at full strength just because, what's his name wasn't there, Alfonso Davies. So
yeah, but I mean, even then, he's a great
they still
player,
but I wouldn't expect Canada to lose to Guatemala currently. Maybe in the past, but the guy I was thinking about earlier, his name's Jonathan David. The one that played for Lille, he's been like super good. He has 232 matches played with them and 109 goals scored. So he's good. He's been one of like the really good players out in, not really good, but he's been one of those players that has played very well. So I'm honestly surprised. And obviously, look, he scored. It was a penalty, but I mean, I guess that's what happens. That's literally the scary part about penalties is you could be the best team, but just get unlucky. So
exactly.
Guatemala.
It's just crazy to see this.
Sorry. Go ahead. No, you.
I was just gonna say, look, Canada's ranked the 30th best team in the FIFA rankings. Guatemala 106. Any given Sunday, right, Lopez?
That's what we were talking about last week, baby. That was what we were talking about last week. And yeah, I just want to give a quick shout to Guatemala. This is their best tournament result in 29 years. So. It's like if you were watching, like there's a bunch of TikToks out there of these like just Guatemalan dads that have just been like losing their minds watching that game, or they were like, I've seen a couple of ones of people in the kitchen like working at a restaurant or something, just like absolutely flipping out once they saw their team win, bro. Like just like much respect, a great feeling for them there, and gotta love the sport.
The craziest thing to me is sometimes like. I did see some of those videos is the comments under them are so mean, bro. They're like, all this just to lose to the U.S. And I'm like, bro, like, give them. Like, bro, like when you grow up, no disrespect, when you grow up and just like seeing your team not be very good, once they do something good, it's like it feels good. Yeah, they may or may not make it to the final. We'd never know. But even like you said, this is their best tournament they've had in a minute. So like, why not be happy about it?
Crazier things have happened.
Yeah.
Crazier things have happened.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, if they make it to the final, you know what? No, I won't say it. I don't want them to beat Mexico, but
you never know. Exactly. So, but yeah, that was the first crazy one, right? Canada versus Guatemala. And then I think this is another one, right? So, you got to pour one out there for Canada because you expect them to win. But then also Panama losing to Honduras, right? So Panama ranked 33rd, beating the U.S. men's national team in the Nations Cup earlier this year. And then, losing to Honduras in penalty shootouts again. Honduras ranked the number 75 in the FIFA rankings. Yeah, penalties can go either way, right? And yeah, these guys actually played a lot better than, if you kind of saw the stats from the last game for the Canada game. Canada was being outplayed by Guatemala. In this one, Panama just completely outplayed Honduras, and still, they couldn't get it done, right? It's really anybody's game when it comes to the penalties. But yeah, it was all them basically the whole first half, and then just little minute moments here and there where Honduras kind of got their shots in, and bang, they ended up winning. So hats off to them. Here's the crazy thing, right? So I guess now we can kind of call this out for us. Who do we think is going to the final? Who do we think will meet in the final? Who's gonna, end up winning here on it's the second? So a couple days, like 2 days from now. Is that?
And they play on Yeah, they play on Wednesday, and then the final is played on Sunday.
Sunday. No third place game, right?
I'm assuming the third place game is probably on Sunday as well. That's usually what they do. I don't know about you guys, but I'm hoping for a Guatemala-Honduras final.
That'd be wild.
Yeah,
that'd be sick to see. Like any given Sunday, man. We'll see.
I have a hard time seeing it. I really do, but I just think the U.S. and Mexico have really shown who they are in this tournament. They played very well.
Basic. I'm just kidding.
they played very well, in my opinion. Right? To me, there's no shot that Guatemala and Honduras beat the U.S. and Mexico. So I think we're going to see another classic USA versus Mexico final. I think, the people pulling the strings in the back, that might be what they want, right? It's going to be selling more tickets at that point for this upcoming Sunday. So give me the U.S. and Mexico going into this. And if they do play against each other, I think
believe
it goes 2-1. 2-1 the U.S.
2-1 the U.S.
Yeah.
I say 2-0 Mexico if it goes to if it's the U.S. and Mexico in the final. I say 2-0 Mexico. But again, with the way things have been going in the last couple years, it has not gone Mexico's way. So I wouldn't be surprised if the U.S. wins, but I will say 2-0 just based off what I've seen.
No, man. Mexico leads the series, 36 wins, over 24 losses, and 17 draws with the U.S. So with all that being said, I'm also going to go with the basic answer. I think it's going to be U.S.-Mexico, like you guys have already commented on. And it will go 3-1 to Mexico in overtime. There's going to be 2 goals scored by Mexico. Ooh. Getting very specific out there. Flip it. Because there is overtime in the final, right?
Correct. Yeah. Honestly, like every time, and I've always, like every time I watch a final, I always hope it goes to penalties, to be honest with you guys. Like, I always hope that there's like, exactly what the U.S. versus Costa Rica game is. It's exactly what I want for every single final. I want it to go 2-2, 3-3, 4-4 type of thing, and then go to penalties and just be absolute mayhem. Like, I want that every single final.
I'm trying to think of this guy's name. He's a freaking winger. The Afro Cesar Huerta, El Chino Huerta. You guys remember that? What was it? The Nations League, where this guy took like 3 penalties because like the goalie kept going off, or I don't know what happened, but they made him retake the penalty like 3 or 4 times.
Oh,
and he like got it blocked like once or twice, and then finally he scored it after because the goalie kept coming off his line. Yeah. I'm like, I can't handle that kind of stress. So, but
have you ever been in a penalty shootout?
Me? I mean, no, but I watched when you guys did it to go to the semis or something like that. That was too much stress for me. I can't handle that.
shootout for saying that in that game that Fern is calling out right now for saying like, oh man, I hope it goes to penalties. And then everybody started giving me so much shit, but I was just like, I'm going for the entertainment value. Exactly what Reyes was saying about that. Like, I love me some good penalty shootouts after a very intense game, right? Don't give me that 0-0 bullshit of we go and make it all the way to penalties that way. Like, give me an absolute shootout, just back and forth. Give me that like energy going into the penalties where like people just are absolutely losing their mind. The commentators are losing their minds. Like, love it.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly. So I hope that's kind of what goes down for that game. We'll kind of keep track of it. I believe it's this Sunday. I'm not sure what you guys are doing on Sunday, but maybe we can do something on that one because that's going to be, it's going to be one to watch. So
don't see why not. I did want to ask you guys something before we moved on away from the Gold Cup.
Yep.
Do you guys know who the top 3 Gold Cup winners are?
Mexico, U.S., and probably not Canada because I don't think they've won one.
Panama?
I'm going to go with...
Lopez, Panama.
I'm going to go with a weird one. I'm going to go with Honduras.
Panama.
Ooh, Panama and Honduras. Okay. I'll tell you. Oh, no. Sorry. I was just reading what you guys said. I'm going to tell you guys from highest to lowest.
Okay.
Do you guys want to guess how many times they've won, or you guys just want me to tell you? I'll just tell you. We won't make it too long. Number 1, Mexico with 9 wins.
Okay, nice.
Number 2, the United States of America with 7 wins, brother.
Okay.
And from our neighbors up north, 1 win,
they have
Canada. And guess what? Those are the only 3 teams to have ever won the Gold Cup. Mexico's won at 9, United States 7th, and Canada 1. So that's what, 17 winners. And Panama is 4th technically because they have 3 runners up. And I believe so they lost 1 to the U.S., 2 to the U.S., and 1 to Mexico in the final. And then Honduras actually is at the bottom of everybody for being runners up once. So yeah, only 3 teams have ever won the thing. But I was going and then the other question I had for you guys is if you know how many times the US and Mexico have played in the finals.
Ever or
ever. I'll say it's under 10. So you guys don't go too crazy. But in the finals, not just the games, in the final.
8 times.
Lopez.
Let's go with 4 times.
7 times.
Oh.
And Mexico has won 5 out of the 7. The United States have won the other 2. So
no doubt, man. That was a stupid guess on my part. You guys told me how many times that they had all like won them. Dang it! But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I could guess a little bit higher.
But and that's the thing too. Like we kind of talk about this, Mexico-U.S. rivalry. Like people talk about this one a lot, and a lot of people always clown on the U.S. men's national team. When you think about it, man, like yes, Mexico has been very dominant in CONCACAF, been very dominant just kind of in general. But like the U.S. is just kind of getting going. You know what I mean? They're still getting going. They're still kind of young. It's still not a super popular sport out here. Like it's popular, but it's not like the biggest sport out here, right? With everything going on. So
just look at the last few years, bro. It's been all U.S.
Yeah. So watch out, man. But yeah, we'll kind of keep track of the Gold Cup. I'll kind of see how those games kind of go. And then I wanted to quickly go over this one. We won't go over it too much because clearly all of the MLS teams have been knocked out. Which is very unfortunate with that 4-0 loss against PSG with Miami. So that's very unfortunate. But as we speak, Manchester City is playing Al Hilal. I believe they're tied 1-1 right now. But like just kind of looking into this one, kind of curious what your guys' thoughts are. We got a
2-2.
This one?
Yeah. City and Al Hilal are 2-2 right now.
Oh, nice. They were 1-1 when I last checked, so that's interesting. I saw this very funny.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I saw this very funny meme of like people watching Manchester City versus Al Hilal, and it showed like all these like rich people things because these guys are like super wealthy, and it was like cars, wine, and mansions, and boats, and yachts, and
all the oil money.
Exactly. I thought it was funny because it was like, oh, this is what this kind of game's gonna be like. So, anyways, kind of funny. But go ahead, Lopez. I was
just saying Inter. What happened, Inter?
Yeah, that is true. We did predict Inter and PSG to go to the final for this one, and clearly that's not going to go down.
We were kind of right.
Yeah, I mean, we could still be kind of right, right? I
The
think,
Champions League final.
yeah, right.
You know what?
But PSG could still make it. So
I've been holding this in, bro. Ever since I saw that they lost, bro. This has been pissing me off, bro. It's just every time I see Inter Milan just playing like trash, it just brings me back to freaking a couple months ago when they played Barcelona in the freaking semifinal, and freaking
you still can't let that go.
bro, I can't let it go. Freaking Summer had this freaking game of his life, and this guy's over here playing Fluminense, getting like a 3.2 rating. I'm like, oh my gosh. I just had to bring it up because I know I'm gonna get clowned on it, because every time I see is like somehow Barcelona let 6 goals in on this Inter side. Like, go to their lineup and freaking Summer, bro. This guy lost them the game pretty much. Pissed me off. But this guy was over here touching the ball with his fingernails against Barcelona. So sorry to bring Barcelona into this. I can't get over it.
That's wild. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely the craziest, like a pretty crazy upset for sure. Fluminense beating Inter 2-0, where clearly Inter had a very good game. And I think if you kind of looked at this game, like, yeah, this data is kind of interesting too, because I did see the highlights. I saw a couple of their moments here and there. Like I started watching some of like the second half. And Inter was definitely the better team like in the second half, but they couldn't put anything away. Like, it was pretty insane to see that every single one of their shots were just a little bit off, right? And yeah, it's a game of inches, right? So you couldn't get it done. Fluminense going on to the next round. So yeah, Fluminense will be here. I don't know. I mean, they are likely going to play Manchester City here. Depends on how today goes. But we do have this one all set up. Palmeiras versus Chelsea. These Brazilian teams, man, right? We talked about this before. They're kind of showing up. They're showing out. They're doing what they got to do. Playing in Philly. There's been a lot of, conversations going on around Palmeiras and that hype, that fan base. So good on them. On the other side, we got PSG Bayern. Which is, just some powerhouses, European powerhouses. Going to be an interesting game.
Bro.
And then, on the 5th, we're going to have tomorrow, we're going to have some more, interesting games with Madrid, Juventus, and then Mauricio.
Monterrey, por favor!
Yeah, I mean,
I believe!
Yeah, honestly, at this point, like, Monterrey, dude, like, please.
I'm a Dortmund fan, unfortunately, guys. So
I know. But we're gonna go for the Rayados.
Think about this though. Freaking, if Miami would have just not let that goal in, they probably could have. I'm not saying it's easy, but look at the right bracket compared to the left bracket of what you would have to go through to get to the final. You'd have to get, if for whatever reason they somehow beat PSG, they had Bayern next. If somehow they beat Bayern, they would have had Dortmund or Real Madrid next, and that's crazy. So
yeah. What do you mean? What do you mean?
It
hasn't happened yet, bro. It hasn't happened yet.
They would have
you have a freaking crystal ball, bro?
No, I'm just saying, based off my gut, those are the two teams I think they would have had to play.
I know.
I mean, I would have rather played. What is it? The freaking Foot Locker guys. Botafogo, or Chelsea versus like Bayern, PSG, or any of these guys on this right side. So dang. I mean, City is like probably the worst thing. I looking at this bracket, I can see City getting to the final.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean they have the best. They have the best side of the bracket. But here's the thing. It's gonna be hard to guess. And yes, I want to quickly get through this, but I want to know if you guys believe that a European team is going to make it to the final. Do you think a Brazilian side from here on the left side of the bracket, can they make it to the final? And can like a Monterrey somehow get to the final? Do you guys believe that could happen?
Honestly, I wouldn't care if Dortmund lost and Monterrey went on and played possibly Real Madrid just for that Sergio Ramos Real Madrid reunion. But if I'm being honest with myself, it's not looking good. Maybe on the left side, if because there's obviously statistically wise, there's a better chance of them making it from the left side because there's 2 Brazilians there. Mm-hmm. Chelsea are pretty good. I don't see them as like oh, they're definitely going to win. City, though, I could see them going straight into it. So if Palmeiras, I could see Palmeiras winning. They just have to get past City. Right. If City make it past Al Hilal, because it's going on right now, so we don't know how it's going to look. But
yeah, exactly. I think we could see a Brazilian team in the final. I'm going to hope for it. I hope Palmeiras or Fluminense make it to the final. That's my guess.
One can dream. Yeah, man. It's I have my dream outcome, right, of like Monterrey making it far, but then again, like Fern was saying, being for real with myself, right? I can't be blinded by hope to the point of naivety. So I have to say that it may not happen, but it'd be freaking cool.
It would be cool. It'd be a hell of a game to watch. That's for sure.
Al Hilal have a really good team. I'm looking at their lineup right now. I don't know if you've seen it, but they have Bonu in goal, who was really good in the last World Cup for Morocco. They have Cancelo, Koulibaly. They have Malcolm, Milinkovic-Savic, Ruben Neves, and freaking, I don't know who this guy is, Leandro up top. So, I mean, it makes sense why Cristiano can't beat that team and win a title in Saudi, but it's a really good team.
They are a lot better than I thought. I know I looked into it too, and I was like pretty much surprised. So, but that is the Club World Cup. Those are the major headlines, kind of that we're planning on kind of going over today. We'll quickly go through our picks, not going through every single game, but let's go ahead and point out one or two games that we're kind of looking forward to for the MLS Matchday 22. Kind of a interesting week this week. We do have action on Thursday as well as Friday, and then we have a full slate on Saturday with one game on Sunday. So really quickly, guys, any games right here from the Thursday to Saturday games, any of these stand out to you guys right now that you're excited to watch? Fern, what do you think?
I have two games that I see off the bat. I'm scared for the LA Galaxy. For one, I don't know whether I should be or not. They're playing against one of the best teams in the league right now. They're second versus the last team. They're last, right? The Galaxy are last now?
Yeah. In the Western Conference, yeah.
Yeah, in the table thing. Well, that's nuts. And the other game is for Saturday is the Montreal Inter Miami. I need to see them back in the MLS and playing against teams a bit more in their caliber. Mm-hmm. The bad part about this is their players, like, I swear all of them were cramping like in the first half of the game. So we'll see when do they play? Sunday, so that's like an entire week. Yeah, so they should, there's no reason why this game should be canceled. Right. But yeah, I'm excited to see how they bounce back. I've actually enjoyed watching them play up until, I did enjoy the game on Sunday, obviously not the best performance. Kind of like some fan bases out there. Oh, I already knew they were going to lose. Why, why am I watching? Just kidding. No, I wanted them to win. But Segovia has been very good for this team. So I'm excited to see him come into the MLS, kind of now established as a starter, and see how well they can play. Because, yes, they did lose. They did get bounced out of the Club World Cup, but they were also the best MLS team at the Club World Cup, in my opinion. And I just feel like having played against some high-level competition like that going into the rest of the season, hopefully that kind of gave them some of that momentum practice that they needed to finish off the season strong and hopefully finally win the MLS Cup.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good one. Those are good picks there. Definitely looking forward to some of those games for sure. Lopez, anything sticks out for you here for this upcoming week?
That Charlotte FC versus Orlando City game. Pretty high. So we talked about Charlotte a little bit, sometimes very good, sometimes very shit, right? And I feel like right now is their opportunity to play against an Orlando team that also hasn't been magnificent. Yes, you can look at the standings. Orlando 5th in the Eastern Conference, while Charlotte is 10th. little bit of a gap there. But if you look at Orlando's last couple of losses, even then, like losing against a very bad Atlanta United, losing against a pretty decent Chicago Fire, we've talked about them as well being on the up and up, but also just like beating Colorado Rapids, which isn't like an incredible win, and also just beating St. Louis City. So I haven't seen any wins that have left me absolutely amazed, but I feel like Charlotte, if they play in good form, we could really see how Orlando City stacks up, if they're for real or if they're a fraud. But I don't know. That I think I've been betting on Orlando City winning the last couple times. I think they might be I might be overhyping them in my head a little bit, but what do you guys think about this game?
Yeah, I like it. I think it's another good one to kind of look into. I didn't know Wilfred Zaha ended with
I
the red
just saw
card
that.
there, so that's unfortunate, obviously. But yeah, head to head looks like Orlando's kind of been beating them most of the time here. It's going to be in Bank of America, so it will be in Charlotte. But I mean, I don't know. Zaha's been pretty good. He hasn't been amazing, I would say. He had a pretty good run at the very beginning of the season. And like going into now, like kind of the back half of the season, Orlando really has been just a bit of a better team, I feel. Clearly fifth on the leaderboard. Ojeda playing very, very well. Pasalic also playing very well. So I like this Orlando team. Charlotte, you never know what could happen because they are kind of in that middle flow. But Orlando, I mean, I hope they can continue to just be hot and continue to win some of these games and just stay competitive in the Eastern Conference. So
yeah, I mean they have a good team. I guess that kind of happens. You do good, you get into a slump, obviously, and then you gotta fight back. So I'd have Orlando City winning this game, kind of start bouncing back a little bit. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully they do win. But yeah, I don't see them losing to Charlotte, especially with Zaha out, even though he hasn't been the most integral person in this Charlotte team. But I still don't. He's one of those players that I just kind of, if I see him out, I feel like they have to lose.
Yeah.
Here.
Any others, or do you want me to go?
You got it.
You go.
Okay, so yeah, a lot of good games that we can kind of look into here. I think the one that sticks out to me the most at this moment is going to have to be Nashville versus Philadelphia. The first place team versus the third place team in the Eastern Conference, kind of that Eastern Conference battle, right? Philly obviously losing to Columbus. Columbus has been very good at home, probably one of the better teams at home this season. But, you can't look past Philly, right? They have, some studs on this team. They've been playing super well. And then Nashville clearly has Surridge up top, which has just been on fire, right? I think you mentioned 10 goals in like the past 6 games. Mukhtar also playing very, very well. So I think this will be interesting, man. First place versus third place. Anything can really happen here. And then if you look at the points, I mean, if one of them wins, I mean, it could be a difference of that table changing, right? So it's fun. This Eastern Conference is a lot of fun because they're so close. 40 points, 39, 38, 37. Like these top 4 teams are just duking it out, right? For this
Baribo is out for Philadelphia, though, so that's their number 1 goal scorer. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, exactly. So I could see another upset here. It's hard to say because obviously Philadelphia, has been such a strong team. But I think going into this, like Nashville, they've been winning, right? They haven't lost in the past 5. They're doing very well. Surge is playing very well. They're scoring goals. I think Nashville gets the win, and I think it stirs up that table in the Eastern Conference.
Right there with you.
I also just noticed that Real Ass Lake is playing St. Louis City.
Yeah, Real Salt Lake is going to be playing St. Louis City 7:30 on Saturday. It is in America First, so a bit interesting there. But yeah, this will be an interesting game for sure. 13th place versus 14th place. The thing that sucks about this, obviously, is that, I mean, Luna's not going to play, right? So Luna's worried about, the Gold Cup, so he's not playing. So they'll have to go with, Gozo, Goncalves, Ugata, Russell. Like they looked good against Sporting Kansas City this last week when they tied 1-1, but they just can't finish. From what I noticed, they can't really finish a lot of these chances. So that'll be another interesting game for sure.
Let's go.
Yeah, and then just to kind of cap it off really quickly, Sunday night soccer, Seattle Sounders versus Columbus Crew. Another interesting game. Columbus clearly being, just red hot right in the Eastern Conference. But Seattle, kind of flirting around with the Western Conference, 5th place right now. But how can they do against, a very good Columbus Crew that's in 6th? So, I mean, at this point, points are very valuable. They're always very, very valuable. But I think, we mentioned this a couple of times. Seattle's just been that, they've been a very good team at the beginning of the season with all of these studs, Ferreira, Rusnak, so Masovsky or whatever his name is, Roldan. Like they've got a really good team. But they just haven't been clicking every single one of these games, right? The ones that you expect them to win, they're not winning. So can they show up and beat this Columbus Crew team? I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Going to be interesting to see.
No.
I don't know if you guys have
Columbus
thoughts.
Crew, they're going to take this win. Seattle Sounders, like we talked about, I was hoping that Austin could maybe keep toppling them there. They obviously pulled out a much-needed win. But look at Columbus Crew and the Philadelphia Union coming off a hot win. I could see it happening. They also beat the Whitecaps.
Yeah, but it wasn't full-power Whitecaps for sure.
It wasn't full-power Whitecaps, but I could see Columbus Crew pulling out a win here and just continuing to keep the momentum rolling.
I'm gonna have Columbus Crew going because I'm just gonna go into this game expecting the Seattle Sounders to lose.
Yeah, this is kind of crazy too. These guys have literally had like 6 games in a row at Lumen Field. Like I think they played these 3 were in Lumen. This was in Lumen.
Yeah, all their Club World Cup games were at Lumen.
Yeah, so they've literally had home games. Like they haven't had to travel at all, which is kind of
the Whitecaps they did play in Canada.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah. Either way, 5 games, like haven't had trouble. Good for them. But yeah, lots of games coming up here in the next match day 22. So yeah, we'll kind of keep track of those, post our picks, keep you guys updated on the leaderboard. But with that, guys, any final words before we end episode number 20?
Lots of fun stuff to watch. Keep an eye out there on these different tournaments. Keep an eye on the MLS. Like, comment, subscribe, and that is all.
Yeah, just check out the socials. Just posted something new today for you guys. Got my soccer career going, and expect something from my boy El Capi and El Chino coming here soon in a little bit, next couple days. So, and then you guys can let us know who had the better career. So
exactly, man. Sweet. But sick. Yeah. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Like, subscribe, share on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. We love y'all. This has been the Crack Soccer Podcast, episode number 20. We're going to give you one for the ride home. Cracking one open for you. Thank y'all. Peace.